Okay. So this is midterm review day 3. This is the day 30 quiz material. Solving quadratics. And we have 3 different methods to use to solve quadratic equations. The first and most preferred method is to solve by factoring. And we actually went over solving by factoring here recently. X squared plus 5x minus 14 equals 0. So the only thing new to what we were doing yesterday is the fact that we added this equals 0 on the end. And that tells us that they want us to equal it to 0 and solve for x at the very end. So you'll look for factors of negative 14 that add to 5. So I highly recommend a factoring sheet for you guys to help you with this process. So the factors of 14 are 1 and 14, or 2 and 7. So which pair of numbers will give me a 5 if I combine them just right?
7 and 2.
Okay. 7 and 2. And because it's a negative 14, one's going to be positive and one's going to be negative. And the positive goes on the bigger number because that number at the bottom is positive. X plus 7, x minus 2. So we will still have to set that equal to 0 and solve at the end to get our answers. So we get a negative 7. And a positive 2. Okay, so that is factoring when a is 1. We will also see problems where you will solve by factoring when a is greater than 1.
I got a problem. All
right.
3x squared plus 14x. Wait. Come on. Plus 15. Yes.
Are you tricking me, Jeremiah?
No. Maybe.
But that's fine. At least you gave me the right kind of number. Actually, hang on just a second. Hey, are you okay? All right, well, I'm in the middle of class, so I'm going to come back. Okay, so when a is greater than 1, we will have to multiply 3 times 15. Which is going to be 45. We need factors of 45 that add to 14.
9 and 5.
Okay. So we keep the 3x squared and we keep the plus 15, and we're going to rewrite 14x using 9x plus 5x. So I rewrite that in the middle. 9x plus 5x.
Wait, so minus 9 from 3? Or, yeah. Right? Or,
Divide.
Divide it.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
So we split it down the middle, and we're going to divide out the common factor. Divided by 3. We'll also divide by an x on this first side. They'll always have an x in common. So 3x leaves me with 1x plus 3. And what can I divide out over here?
5.
X plus 3. And I feel confident in what I've just done because I know these parentheses should match exactly, and they do. So that's good. So I write down one of those. And I also write down the 3x plus 5 that we divided out, those common factors. But I can't forget to set each of these equal to 0. Oh, you can't see that, sorry. I can't forget to set each of these equal to 0 so that I can solve this equation. X plus 3 equals 0. 3x plus 5 equals 0. So x equals a negative 3. And x equals a negative 5 over 3. So I think what Jeremiah has done is he picked out the problem that was in the Delta Math assignment for today.
Yeah.
So hopefully everyone gets at least that problem correct.
You're welcome.
Yeah, we're all singing your praises.
Better be. No, I'm just playing.
Which problem is that?
Probably number 3 or 4-ish. I don't know exactly. I think it's number 4. Would anyone like to see another problem like this one or the one before it?
Can we do one like that one we just did?
Yeah. Yeah, hang on, let me come up with something real quick. Okay. So 2x squared plus 11x plus 12 equals 0. So we will solve by factoring. 2 times 12, factors of 24 that add to 11. So factors of 24 are 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6. Which pair gives me 11?
3 and 8.
Mm-hmm. So I keep 2x squared, and I keep plus 12, and I rewrite 11x using 3x and 8x. I'm going to put 8x first It just seems to work better when we put the bigger number first. So plus 8x plus 3x. Sorry, that's a little messy. Split it down the middle. And I'm going to try to see what I can divide out of 2 and 8. And I think I can divide a 2 from each of those. And an x from each of those. So I'm left with 1 x plus 4. Here I can divide by a 3. X plus 4. So I write x plus 4 2x plus 3, and I'm going to set each of those equal to 0 to get my solutions. That's some pretty amazing stuff. You should show somebody that you know how to do that. They might give you $1.
Or 2.
Maybe 2. Just be like, hey Ma, look what I can do. Or Grandma, check this out. Look what I learned today. They might be impressed. I would be. My son came home and showed that to me and be like, wow, buddy, you are so smart. I'm so proud of you. Do your parents know the things, or do your family members know the amazing things that you do? Do you show them your notebook, or do you tape it to the refrigerator or anything like that? Anybody? All right, so along with solving by factoring, we learned about the quadratic formula. Solve by quadratic formula. That looks so messy. All right, so the quadratic formula is x equals negative b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac
You should go on America's Got Talent.
all over 2a. I don't think anyone will be impressed by that. But thanks. That's how well, actually, I didn't learn it with that tune. I learned it.
Oh, I don't like these.
Negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac b squared minus 4ac over 2a over 2a.
You're scaring my dog. He's like, I don't like these.
I will remember that formula when I'm 99, if I ever make it to 99. All right, so the quadratic formula is used to solve a quadratic equation that can't be factored. So if I were not able to find factors of whatever that add to whatever, but I needed to solve the problem, then the quadratic formula is kind of like your backup plan. So here we go. Number 3, no, this is number 4. Number 4, 10x squared plus 7x minus 1 equals 0. That's a 10.
A, B, and C, right?
Yes. A is 10, B is a positive 7, and C is a negative 1. So make sure you bring the negative with that number. So when I place it into the formula, there's a negative, and then I put my B value plus and minus the square root. When you square this number right here, you really want to put parentheses around that. Minus 4 times my A value, which is 10, and my C value, which is negative 1. All over 2 times my A value, which is 10. So, of all the things in this formula, this square root part is really the only place where we're probably going to do math. So I want to start here. And it would be very helpful if you had a calculator to help you with this. The Pro or the other one. Would anyone in the room like a calculator? Just a second. All right, so I'm gonna put just the square root part into the calculator. So second square root, parentheses 7 squared minus 4 times 10 times negative 1. I'm going for it. So it tells me that that equals the square root of 89. I still have the negative 7 plus and minus over 2 times 10, which is 20. So it's very helpful to have a calculator. I could show you how to do that by hand if you need me to. All right, let's do another one with the quadratic formula. Let's do 3x squared minus 14x plus 8 equals 0. And I'm going to write down the quadratic formula again. Negative b plus minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. A is 3, B is negative 14, and C is 8. So this time, when we put our b into this formula, there's a negative from the formula, and then I put my negative 14 in there. So what's going to happen right there is that's going to become a positive 14 in my answer. Plus and minus the square root. I want to do b squared in parentheses, so negative 14 in parentheses, squared minus 4 times a times c, all over 2 times a. I'm going to start here using my calculator. The square root, parentheses, negative 14 squared minus 4 times 3 times 8 is 10. Not in the square root, just a regular 10, no more square root. So I'm going to write that down. These negative times negative became positive 14 plus or minus 10 over 6. Since there was no more square root, we're going to need to do some more math to simplify this. You're actually going to get two just regular answers at the end. So one of the answers is going to be 14 plus 10 over 6, which is 24 over 6, which is 4. The other answer is going to be 14 minus 10 over 6. 14 take away 10 is 4 over 6.
This is hard.
Which can be reduced to 2/3. Is that the hard part?
No, I just remember that like I couldn't do it like I used to, so then it was just automatically hard. But now I got it.
Okay. Yeah, it's a little rusty. We hadn't seen it for a while. So just brush the dust off. You'll be fine. Are y'all doing okay with the quadratic formula?
Yes.
Okay. All right, the last thing we did in this section was the square root method. Skip to this. Solve by square root.
Wait, so how do you put your answer in there? Because you got like a fraction and then a whole number. And the other problem.
What number are you looking at? Like number
Like
5?
Yeah, the last one you just did.
Okay. So I think, hang on, let me look at Delta Math real quick. Sorry. Wait. Sorry. Alright, so say like if you had 5 plus or minus the square root of 3 divided by, Okay, so you got to put parentheses around the top, and then you can hit the slash. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. So, I mean, I don't know that that's the answer. Don't quote me on that part, but
Oh, for like, when you go to math, the answer that I got was 5 plus or minus 33 over 2.
plus or minus.
And you got 38 and 28, and then you divide
Whoa,
those
whoa,
both
whoa,
by
whoa, whoa, wait. Slow down. So you said negative 5 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 2. And you got, so the answer there is the square root of 33. So it stays in the square root. So the answer is going to be 5 plus or minus square root 33.
Oh, square root 33.
Over 2 times a, so over 2.
Was it 5 plus or minus square root 33 over 2? That's it?
I think so.
Alright.
I feel good about it. They feel good about it. All right. So then the last section is the solve by square root method. And those problems look like these. What number problem is this for you guys? Is this number 6? Okay, thank you. All right, so let's do 3x plus 9 squared equals 12. All right, so to solve any equation, you're going to work PEMDAS backwards. And this is important because it gives you a roadmap for which to solve. So we try to start with any addition or subtraction first. But I can't move this plus 9 because it's locked into the parentheses by the exponent. So I'm going to have to skip the addition and subtraction for now and go straight to undoing any multiplication or division. I cannot distribute that 3 into the parentheses because of the exponent. I have to just move it by dividing it on both sides. This becomes x plus 9 squared equals 4. So again, in order to subtract the 9, I have to move the exponent next. And to get rid of the exponent of 2, we're going to have to square root both sides. This is the square root method, so I'm going to use the square root. So over here, I square root. And on the number side, we have to put a plus and a minus with the square root, because you get a positive and a negative value. On the exponent side, the square root cancels the exponent, leaving you with x plus 9 equals positive and negative. The square root of 4 can be simplified. Oops. The square root of 4 is 2. But I'm not finished with this problem because I haven't gotten x by itself yet. You're not finished. We will have to subtract the 9 over. It's going to go right in front of that plus and minus. So I've got negative 9 plus and minus 2. But just like that last quadratic formula problem, we're also not finished here, because we can figure out what negative 9 plus 2 is, and we can figure out what negative 9 minus 2 is. So I get two answers. Negative 9 plus 2 is negative 7. And negative 9 minus 2 is negative 11. Would you guys like to see another problem like this? I'll show you one more. What'd you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Here's another one. X minus 10 squared plus 18 equals 35. So we're trying to get everything away from X as much as we can by using PEMDAS backwards. So again, I try to start with undoing any addition or subtraction first. So I'm going to undo this addition. I can subtract 18 from both sides. X minus 10 squared equals 35 minus 18 is 17. I don't have anything multiplied in front of the parentheses or divided underneath it, so I don't need to do any multiplication or division. Next, we're going to move the exponent by square rooting both sides. So I square root over here, plus and minus, square root here. The square root cancels the exponent, leaving me with x minus 10 equals positive and negative. So this time the square root of 17 doesn't simplify. It just is the square root of 17. So I'm going to leave the root alone. I couldn't do anything to it. But I do still have to get the x by itself. So when I add the 10 over, that 10 sits right in front of the square root, plus minus square root 17. And on this problem, I have to stop here because I can't add 10 and a square root like I could add the 9 and the 2 in the previous problem. You need to see more? Does that feel like enough? Okay, well, I have a couple of you who need to retake or make up the day 30 quiz, so I'm going to private chat a couple of you, and then if you have any questions on the Delta Math assignment, you just let us know. Yes, ma'am. Oh, I'm sorry. My dad said hi. What?
I'm sorry, Dad. Hey, Dad, I didn't die. Oh, could you reset it, please?
Yeah, hang on.
Are we allowed to go if we're finished? Yeah.
Yeah.
Miss Bartlett,
Yes, ma'am.
for the first couple questions, or the first one, wouldn't our answers just be the two numbers that we get from? It would just be two numbers, right?
So on number 1, you found factors of 60 that add to 16, right?
I had -32 and 4.
Okay. So they're asking you to factor. So whatever two numbers you found, you're going to put parentheses x. Is it plus 8x minus 4?
Yes.
Okay. So factored form has the x plus the number and the x minus the number in parentheses.
Oh, okay. So that would be our answer.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Darla, when you're doing the A-B formula, how do you put it in the delta math?
I'm sorry, Naya, what was your question?
I said when you're doing the A-B formula, how do you put it in delta math?
So in the, what's your answer? Can you share that with me?
My answer is 5 plus minus square root of 33 divided by 2.
Good. Okay, so put parentheses, 5. You should see the plus minus button below the answer box. You should also see the square root button below the answer box. Then put 33. Close the parenthesis. Then put divided by, and it'll make it all a fraction for you. So you can put your 2 underneath.
I got it, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I have trace questions.
Okay?
First one. It says factor completely 49 minus 121x squared.
Okay. Let me.
It seems easy, like I should know what it is, but I'm like,
Well, it's like a little bit of a different format than what you're used to. Hang on.